Good day everyone, my name is Veronica Tagalogon together with my co-reporter Mr. Ruben Tabor and Mr. John Ruel Sortin, and we will be discussing
the Curriculum Evaluation Module 2 Lesson 3.
So before I start the discussion, here are the 4 learning objectives. Number 1. Define curriculum evaluation and explain its importance in education system. Number 2. Differentiate between evaluation and assessment in the context of education. Number 3. Discuss the role of teachers, administrator, and other stakeholders in the curriculum evaluation process. And lastly, identify the types of data gathered at the classroom and school or system level of curriculum evaluation. Okay, so what is curriculum evaluation? In general, evaluation is concerned with giving value or making judgments. Consequently, a person acts as evaluator when he or she attributes worth or judgment to an object, a place, a process, or a behavior. Usually, evaluation is done using a set of criteria. This enables the evaluation process to be always objective rather than be subjective. It means curriculum evaluation is like a process of checking, assessing, and judging whether a curriculum is effective. Different scholars have a different definition depending on how they view the curriculum, its purpose, and how it's applied.
Also, curriculum evaluation is. David, 1980, he viewed that the process of delineating, obtaining, and providing information useful for making decisions and judgments about curricular, while Mars 2004, he viewed that the process of examining the goals, rationale, and structure of any curriculum. And while Brent 1993, he viewed that the process of assessing the merit and worth of a program of studies, a course, or a field of study. While according to Bruce Tuchman, 1985, he viewed that the means of determining whether the program is meeting its goal. And according to Dahl, 1992, he viewed that the broad and continuous effort to inquire into the effects of utilizing contexts and processes to meet clearly defined goals, and the process of delineating and obtaining and provide useful information for judging decision alternatives. So we also have here the purpose of curriculum evaluation. The first one is essential in providing feedbacks to learners, meaning it needs to highlight what the learners did well and identify areas that need improvement and provide clear guidance on how to improve. And effective feedback should be actionable, focusing on the task or behavior instead of criticizing the individual, which help build confidence and motivation. Next, helpful in determining how well learners have achieved the objectives of the curriculum. Meaning, dito naman, chine-check kung na-achieve pa ng student yung goals or objective ng curriculum. Ibig sabihin, nalaman ba nila or na-master ba nila yung dapat matutunan. So, this include both formative assessment such as class discussion, quizzes, projects, and teacher observation, which provide ongoing feedback during the learning process, and summative tests such as final exams, presentation, and standard tests, which measure overall achievements at the end of the learning period. Okay, so lastly, to improve curriculum, the purpose of curriculum is not only to provide knowledge but also to ensure continuous improvement in the quality of education. To improve curriculum means that reviewing and updating the content, teaching methods, and learning experiences so they remain relevant and effective and responsive to students' needs. It involves aligning the curriculum with current societal demands, advancement in knowledge, and the skills required in the future. Improvement also focuses on addressing gaps, removing outdated information, and integrating new ideas and technologies that enhance learning. Next, it helps in shaping academic policies. So, curriculum evaluation plays an important role in shaping academic policies because it provides reliable information about the strengths and weaknesses of teaching and learning process. So, through systematic evaluation, educators and administrators can identify whether the curriculum meets student needs or align with institutional goals and keeps pace with societal and technological changes. So, the third one is it guides in initiating curricular changes and innovation. So, meaning, this statement means, okay, so lastly, to improve curriculum. The purpose of curriculum is not only to provide knowledge but also to ensure continuous improvement in the quality of education. To improve curriculum means that reviewing and updating the content, teaching methods, and learning experiences so they remain relevant and effective and responsive to students' needs. It involves aligning the curriculum with current societal demands, advancement in knowledge, and the skills required in the future. Improvement also focuses on addressing gaps, removing outdated information, and integrating new ideas and technologies that enhance learning. In addition, curriculum evaluation is also useful to administrators and teachers in many different ways. For example, evaluation helps in making decisions about improving teaching and learning process. Meaning, evaluation is an important tool in education because it provides feedback on how effective teaching and learning process are. So, by assessing students' performance, teacher can identify the strengths and weaknesses in both instruction and learning. So, this helps them to understand which method or strategies or resources are working well and which need improvement. Next, it helps in shaping academic policies. So, curriculum evaluation plays an important role in shaping academic policies because it provides reliable information about the strengths and weaknesses of teaching and learning process. So, through systematic evaluation, educators and administrators can identify whether the curriculum meets student needs or align with institutional goals and keeps pace with societal and technological changes. So, the third one is it guides in initiating curricular changes and innovation. So, this statement means that the curriculum evaluation does not only measure how well a program is working but also provides direction for improving it. So, when we evaluate the curriculum, we gather evidence about its strength, weaknesses, and relevance to learners' needs. So, the result of this process can or then guide teachers, administrators, and policymakers in making informed decisions about what should be changed or updated. So, the third one is it guides in initiating curricular changes and innovation. So, this statement means that the curriculum evaluation does not only measure how well a program is working but also provides direction for improving it. So, when we evaluate the curriculum, we gather evidence about its strength, weaknesses, and relevance to learners' needs. So, the result of this process can or then guide teachers, administrators, and policymakers in making informed decisions about what should be changed or updated. Okay, next, it ensures quality of any curricular program. This means that the curriculum evaluation plays a vital role in maintaining and improving the effectiveness of any educational programs. So, by systematically examining the content, teaching methods, learning outcomes, and overall structure, evaluation helps determine whether the curriculum meets the intended goals and standards. So, it identifies strengths that should be sustained and weaknesses that need to be improved, ensuring that the students gain meaningful knowledge and skills. Next, it helps schools align their curriculum to different curriculum sources and influences. So, schools don't create their curriculum in isolation. They are guided by national or state education policies, subject-specific guidelines, professional standards, and community needs, and even global trends in education. Through evaluations, schools can review their existing curriculum and see whether it reflects these different sources and influences. So this alignment ensures that what the student learns is relevant, up-to-date, and meets both external requirements like government mandates and internal goals like schools, mission, and local community needs. Okay, next, it determines the level of success of the school vision and mission. So this statement means that the curriculum evaluation is not just about checking whether lessons are taught or students are assessed. It is about seeing how well the curriculum helps the school to achieve its broader vision and mission. So a school vision and mission usually express its long-term goals, values, and purpose, such as producing responsible citizens, lifelong learners, and skilled professionals. So, by evaluating the curriculum, educators can determine whether what is being taught or how it is being taught and how students are learning truly reflect and support those goals. In other words, the result of curriculum evaluation provide evidence on how successful the schools is not turning into vision and mission into reality. Okay, so we also have here curriculum evaluation in the classroom. According to Dahl 1997, asserted that the classroom in fact could be the first site of gathering important data that will lead to curriculum evaluation. Within the classroom, teachers and administrators can collect data using several instruments like the first one is test results. So, result is yung mga nakukuha ng mga teachers sa mga binibigyan nilang quizzes, examination, or standard test. So, the result of this provide evidence on how well learners have achieved the intended learning objectives and outcomes of the curriculum. Next one is anecdotal records. So, it is a factual and objective notes that teacher or evaluator write about specific observation of the learner's behavior, skills, or attitudes. So, this record help capture details that formal tests may overlook, such as creativity, problem solving, and cooperations, or emotional responses. Next is checklist. So, this is a practical tool used to systematically assess whether specific elements, objectives, or standards of a curriculum have been addressed or achieved. So, they consist of a list of set of criteria or indicators that evaluators or teachers can simply mark as example present or absent, or done or not done. So, this makes them especially useful for identifying strengths or areas needing improvement in a curriculum. Okay, number 4, interview guides. Interview guide is a structured framework used during curriculum evaluation to collect in-depth information from teachers, students, or parents. It is typically consists of a set of predetermined questions or themes that ensure consistency across interviews while still allowing flexibility for follow-up questions and deeper exploration of response. Next, observation guides. So, observation guides are structured tools or checklists used by teachers or supervisors or evaluators to record what they see during teaching and learning activities. Next, personality inventories. A personality inventory is a structured assessment tool designed to measure and evaluate various aspects of an individual personality traits, characteristics, and behavioral patterns. Okay, next, rating scale. So, this is a tool used to measure and assess the quality, effectiveness, or performance of different aspects of the curriculum in a structured way. So, they provide a systematic method for gathering, judging by asking evaluators such as teachers, students, or administrators to to rate specific items, behavior, or outcomes on a scale that usually range from low to high. For example, yung 1 to 5 or poor to excellence. Next is IQ test. So, IQ tests are standard assessment designed to measure a person's intellectual abilities in relation to others of the same age group. They are typically evaluate skills such as reasoning, problem solving, memory, or language and logical thinking. In the context of curriculum evaluation, IQ tests are sometimes used to determine how well students are developing their cognitive abilities and whether the curriculum supports intellectual growth. Okay, lastly, interest inventories. Ang interest inventories naman ay tool used to gather information about the students' like, preferences, and areas of curiosity in relation to subject, activities, and learning experiences. So, they are typically in the form of questionnaires, survey, or checklists that ask learners about what topic they enjoy, the skill they want to develop, or the type of task they find engaging. So, teachers play an important role in conducting curriculum evaluation in the classroom level. They must be guided in gathering data from this instrument and interpreting the data. The result of classroom-based evaluation may help improving instruction and in the effective implementation of the curriculum. We also have here curriculum evaluation at the school or school system level. So, curriculum evaluation is done mostly at the school or system level. This is usually done to evaluate how the curriculum goals are attained in the macro level. So, at this level, the following instruments can be used to gather data for the evaluation of the curriculum. So, first one, opinion poll survey. This is a method of collecting information about people's views, beliefs, or attitudes on a particular issue, program, or activity. Gumagamit sila dito ng questionnaires or interviews or online survey where participants express their opinions. Next, focus group discussion. This is the qualitative research method used to gather in-depth insight from the selected group participants, such as students, teachers, or other stakeholders about their experiences, perceptions, and opinions of the curriculum. A focus group usually involves a small group or from 6 to 12 people, guided by a facilitator who prompts decision from open-ended questions. Next, follow-up studies or graduate tracer studies. So, this is often called graduate tracer studies, or this is a tool in curriculum evaluation used to assess the effectiveness and relevance of an educational program by tracking progress of its graduates after they leave schools. These studies gather information about graduates' employment status, career paths, further studies, job satisfaction, and how well their education prepared from the real-world demands. Next is standard evaluation instrument. So, this is a structured tool or method that have been carefully developed, tested, and widely accepted for measuring specific aspects of teaching and learning. So, they are considered standard because they follow established guidelines for validity. They measure what they are supposed to be measured, and reliability. They produce consistent results across different settings and times. So, this instrument may include standard tests, rating scales, questionnaires, observation checklists, or performance rubrics that help evaluate whether curriculum objectives are being achieved. So, and lastly, result of district or national test. It refers to the standard assessment that are administered either across a school district or at the national level to measure students' achievement and learning outcomes. So, these tests provide objective data on how well students are meeting the expected standard and competencies outlined in the curriculum. So, by analyzing the result, educators and policymakers can determine the effectiveness of the curriculum, identify the strengths and weaknesses in teaching and learning, and compare students' performance across schools, regions, and entire the country.
Hi guys, my name is Robin Tabor and I will be reporting this few slides. First is model of curriculum evaluation. Curriculum scholar and curriculum workers have identified various models that can be used for evaluating curriculum. Each of these models is a product of endless work of curriculum scholar trying to access the values of particular curriculum. Sa slide na ito ay tumutukoy sa mga teachers or head na gumagawa ng curriculum at ipapacheck muna nila ito sa mga heads or nakakataas sa kanila bago nila i-release or ipasubok ito sa mga school na kanilang pinagtuturuan. Next slide, A. Foveus Discrepancy Evaluation Model. This model for curriculum evaluation was developed by Malcolm Foveus in 1971 to evaluate projects under the Elementary Secondary Education Act in United States using the taxonomy of program content developed by Robert Stake. At this point, let us discuss the four major stages of conducting curriculum evaluation, determining program standard. Ito ay tumutukoy sa mga standards na sinusunod ng mga teachers or professional na gumagawa ng curriculum. Tinitiyak nilang nasusunod ang mga ito para pasado at walang question ang mga mag-check or mag-approve ng curriculum na ito. And next, let's discuss the determining program performance. Ito din ay tumutukoy sa posibleng performance ng mga estudyante na susubok o mag-take ng curriculum na ginawa ng mga professional, kung may improvement ba o wala based sa kanilang performance na sumubok sa curriculum na ginawa ng mga professionals. And number 3, comparing performance with standard. Dito naman kinukumpara nila yung performance with standard based sa nasabi dito. Tinitignan nila kung approve or failed yung ginawa nilang curriculum, kung nakakatulong ba ito sa mga estudyante na nakasubok ng curriculum na ito. And number 4, determining whether a discrepancy exists between performance and standard. Dito naman ay kinukumpara nila o tinitignan nila ang pagkakaiba between performance and standard. Sabi ko kanina, kung pasado naman na with standard ang performance ng mga bata, kung pasado nga ba sa mga professional na nag-evaluate, ay pwede na or depende sa kanila kung ilalabas nila itong curriculum na ito. And next, according to Ronald Dahl in 1997, noted that the Foveus model has been called the discrepancy model because it compares performance with standard. To determine whether there is discrepancy between the two, this model enables the curriculum evaluators and this administrator of the school collect or gather contribute evidence on how the curriculum satisfied set standard. Dito ay nag-gathered sila ng evidence kung paano kung pasado nga ba ang curriculum or satisfied yung standards na sinusunod ng mga gumagawa ng curriculum na ito. And let's proceed to letter B, Tyler Model of Curriculum Evaluation. There are 7 steps for evaluating a curriculum. Number 1, establishment of goal and objective. Number 2, classification of the objectives. Number 3, definition of the objective and behavioral terms. Number 4, identification of situation in which achievement of objective could be shown. And at this point, let's discuss the B, Tyler model of curriculum evaluation. There are 7 steps for evaluating a curriculum. Number 1, establishment of goal and objectives. Number 2, classification of the objectives. Number 3, definition of the objective in behavioral term. Number 4, identification of situation in which achievement of the objective could be shown. Number 5, selection of criterion of measurement procedures. Number 6, collection of data output pupil performance. Number 7, comparison of finding with the state's objectives.
Staffelbeam SKIP model. The Phi Delta Kappa National Study Committee on Evaluation, chaired by Daniel L. Staffelbeam, developed and published a curriculum evaluation model known as the KIP, Context Input Process Product Model. Staffelbeam 1971. Staffelbeam 2001 defined evaluation as the process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information for judging decision alternatives. Context evaluation, according to Staffelbeam, is the most basic kind of evaluation. Its purpose is to provide strong rationale for determining curriculum objectives at this point. The curriculum evaluator describes the environment and determines the different needs of the society, school, and students. If there are unmet needs, the curriculum evaluator seeks to find reason for not meeting the needs. The curriculum context also includes the problem, issues, and challenges that the curriculum seeks to address. Input evaluation aims to provide information for determining how resources are utilized to achieve curriculum objectives. At this level, the resources of the school and the different designs for implementing the curriculum are considered. Product evaluation aims to gather, interpret, and appraise curricular attainment, not just the end of an implementation of a curriculum. Excuse me. D. Stakes congruency contingency evaluation model. Robert Stake, 1975, claimed that curriculum evaluation is not complete unless 3 categories of data are made available. These categories of data are: 1. Antecedent includes data on students and teachers. The curriculum to be evaluated in the community context. 2. Transaction include time allotment, sequence of steps, social climate, and communication flow. 3. Outcome encompass students' learning and different understanding, skills, and evaluation attitude, as well as the effects of the curriculum on the teachers, students, and the schools. So, ayon kay Robert Stake, 1975, para sa kanya daw ay ang curriculum evaluation ay hindi kompleto kung ang tatlong kategorya ng data, list the 3 categories of data are made. Kung wala ang tatlong kategorya ng data. Ha? Ayon kay Robert Stake, 1975, para sa kanya, curriculum evaluation ay hindi kompleto kung wala ang tatlong data. Ito ang tatlo. 1. Antecedents include data or student and teachers. The curriculum to be evaluated in the community context. Transactions include time and allotment, sequence of steps, social climates in the communication flow. 3. Outcomes encompasses students learning from understanding skills and values or attitudes, as well as the effects of the curriculum on the teachers, students, and the school. So, yun. The term congruency refers to the degree alignment between what was desired and what was actually achieved. So, ang congruency ay refers sa pagitan ng kung ano ang gusto mo at kung ano ang makukuha mo. Contingency refers to the relationship between one variable to the other. For example, between the curriculum and the community context. So, ang contingency ay refers naman siya sa relationship between variable to the other. We'll give an example. Eisner's educational connoisseurship model. Elliot Eisner, 1985, provided a qualitative way to evaluating a curriculum. So, nag-provide siya ng ano daw, qualitative, and the word qualitative, quality, para mag-evaluate ng curriculum. So, let's continue. This model does not have methodological procedures compared with other evaluation models. Eisner models calls for a deeper and wider observation result of evaluation that are expressed in written form. So, ang model na ito ay mas pinalawak daw tsaka mas deeper, from the word deeper. Parang deeper. Mas malalim, ano? Malalim. Let's continue. The results, however, are not merely descriptions. They provide excellent and accurate interpretation and appraisal. So, reflections on curriculum evaluation. The purpose of curriculum evaluation is to make judgment on the effectiveness of a curriculum. So, ang purpose ng curriculum evaluation ay para makagawa sila ng judgment kung ano ang effectiveness ng isang curriculum. Okay, let's continue. Curriculum evaluation follows a scientific and logical process. So, ang curriculum evaluation ay may mga sinusunod daw silang scientific and logical processes. Ganun. From the word scientific, nabibase sila sa mga science. Tapos sa mga logical. Let's continue. The procedures of curriculum evaluations are linked with how the curriculum was developed. Each curriculum evaluation model is based on a set of principles that embodies a curriculum theory of education principles. Curriculum evaluation could be done in a national level or school-based depending on the purpose of evaluation. So, ang curriculum evaluation daw ay maaaring gawin sa school, depende naman kung ano ang purpose ng evaluation. Okay, continue. gather of data for evaluating and analysis is important in curriculum development. So, ang pagkuha ng data para sa evaluation at analysis ng curriculum evaluation is importante. Alam niyo bakit? Kasi the result of curriculum evaluation are essential in making juridical decisions.